Hello everybody. We're just a little bit behind on our plant of the week. We do apologize. We've had some illnesses come around, and so we're just a little bit behind on that, but hopefully in the coming weeks we'll be back to normal. So, because of that, we're just going to do a little update video of see how the plants are doing in the greenhouse. So, everybody's looking pretty good and healthy. Our dragon fruit are growing extra long and tall, although some of them are getting a little too tall, so we'll have to trim them, get them hanging properly. Our hanging baskets are meant for hanging, and we've got some in potted plant or pots, so that way we can get more tree-like and then more hanging-like. So do got to do a little bit of pruning, but with all the new build on the construction, it's been taking a fair bit of our time to make sure that's going, so we can make sure all these guys are in good, healthy shape for spring. And yeah, no, it's been so far a good winter. We're looking for a nice week of sun coming up, and that's going to be great for these guys because it's been super cloudy, so they haven't been super happy about that. They're just sort of sitting here not doing much. We still are getting blossoms on the little Buddha hands here, so they're growing still quite nicely. The one that are doing still really good, and always recommend to people, is of course guava. Guava is always fruiting. We do keep them pruned, which helps trigger the fruit production, so that's always nice. Sugar cane's getting a bit tall, but these guys are 2 years for the sugar cane, so that's really nice. So be able to actually start harvesting that this year for people that do get them. Our jackfruit are still growing. We do have some that are falling off, but yeah, most of our jackfruit, from what we've seen, they're starting to finally produce fruit, which is awesome. So that's always good to hear. We do have the yellow passion fruit hiding in here that are ripening up, and yeah, are hiding in all the bananas now. The loquat is shooting out its new growth, so looking forward to those guys producing some fruit in the spring once we get past winter. Oh, sorry, here, walking through the jungle of bananas. We are working on getting hot or warm water, shouldn't say hot water, for our plants. So you end up taking the water from our water heater system. Technically it's not a boiler because we run about 180 to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. So we'll be taking the water from that. It's an indirect water heater, which then warms up the water that we water with, because that's really important. You do not want to be shocking your plants with cold water when you water. Our papayas are growing nicely. We're not getting as much fertilization because there's less bugs flying around right now, but we still have a few with fruit on them. And this guy's got a little bit of character for if anybody's interested. He seems to have a little line in his fruit, but the next one's coming in quite nicely. But this is our oldest, which has the most abundance of fruit that stays and hangs out on them. But again, get past sugarcane. So the guava, yes, if you want fruit, guava. Smells great, tastes good. There's quite a few different types, and yeah, we've been harvesting quite a bit off them this winter because they're getting ripe and falling off. And we go through the mangoes. So I know some people do have problems with mangoes, and believe us, we do too. But we are working on improving how we're treating them, soil composition, everything, so they do better up here. We are learning a fair bit, and we'll be making educational videos on how to best take care of your mango, at least up here in Canada from our experience. So pot temperature is really important. You want to keep it above 20 degrees because the roots, as we're learning, as to why we're also making sure we get the warm water for watering. If you're letting it cool down below 20 degrees, shocking it with cold water, it does damage the roots, which will cause your plant to die off. You basically just get root rot because the roots have no idea what to do except for die off. So really recommend you are watering them with warm water, and all the plants really, just because, again, the roots do not like cold temperatures. So there's a little walk around of house number 1. Alrighty, we're in house number 2. So this is where all our citrus, or not all the young citrus is growing, and a lot of young mangoes. So this is the 2-gallon and 3-gallon for this coming spring. We've got more hanging baskets, which need a little bit of weeding. And yeah, so no, everybody's doing pretty darn good. Super happy. Our mangoes, again, we're getting them all warmed up because temperature super important for these guys, minimum temperatures and that. And yes, while they can't survive a cool night to 10, again, you want to be watering with that warm water and keeping that pot temperature up, as we're learning, and that'll help keep the plants from basically drying off, dehydrating, or just roots dying off. So the other thing we're doing, because we have so many varieties, we're seeing which ones are doing best up here, and you can definitely tell these plants are all the same age. Now, yes, some grow faster than others, depending on the variety, but we'll be able to sort of narrow it down which ones do best in our climate. We're still going to have, you know, some of the more rare ones and ones people are specifically asking for, but we'll get it narrowed down with a little bit of research and get that going. So we do have this greenhouse up and running. It's not the prettiest setup, I know, but the warm water to the plants is the most important aspect of it. So you definitely want to again, I'm going to stress on the warm temperature for the water. But we've got a week of sun, so everybody's going to throw a lot of new growth on. Again, all these plants are the same age. So we can see the difference between some of the grapefruit, which is the big guys, the ponderosas. We still have some fruit hanging around. This guy is a Nagami kumquat. So he's just absolutely covered in them. They did really well, so really happy with those guys. And yeah, so we've got a lot of greenery, keeping those temperatures up. Oh, we got ourselves one pollinator flying about. He's been hanging around all year, actually. So I mean, maybe it's more than one. I will admit I do not know the life cycle of some of these guys yet. Hopefully I'll get to know more. Oh, we got lots of little fruits and blossoms coming on a lot of these guys. So, oh, and I believe this is, and we've got, oh, I wish I knew the name of that off the top of my head, because these guys still have to get tagged properly, which we are getting a new tag system. So we'll have much more nicer looking tags with all the information that we need on them for everybody, and including any wholesale clients and that. And then we've also, even on the ones, as these are, what's the word? Not propagated, not cuttings. Oh, I wish I remembered the words sometimes, but this is on the fly and there's not as much editing. So that is the Mandarin Quat. So that's that one. Oh, graft. That's the word. So they are grafted plants. So these are mature plants grafted onto rootstock. So that way you get your fruit. You know, having to wait, up to 15, 20 years to find out your plant doesn't fruit, unfortunately. Now, if you're just growing them ornamental, 100%, it's great. But if you're wanting that fruit and that sort of return on investment, you definitely want to make sure that they're fruiting. So that's, oh, I didn't go down the other side. I'll go down the other side. And then we do have, again, lots of these little citrus, which is great. And yeah, they're doing pretty awesome. And the citrus, for the most part, are quite resilient to, let's call them butterfingers when it comes to care. versus, you know, say an avocado and mango. They tend to like that a bit more care, but obviously you don't want to overdo your care because Mother Nature ignores a lot of plants and they do absolutely fine. And sometimes we find ourselves over caring and you end up hurting the plant or killing it off. So always best to just give it the minimal care it needs and let nature take its course, because nature knows best. All right, there's an update on house number 2. Hello again. So a lot of people ask and are curious about what to do with your, say, figs, pomegranates, stuff that is good down to, you know, -10. And the answer is you just need to protect them from the wind and let them still have some ambient light. And yes, you don't have to super panic. You want them to have their winter, so that way they can produce fruit for you in the coming year. Because if they don't get their winter and you leave them outside all the time, you tend not to get the same fruit production or none at all. So yeah, they're protected here, just in our carport. It's all blocked up from the wind, and yeah, that's about all you need to do. Now we are zone 6B, so these are all the ones that are good for that -10 and the occasional, you know, -15, but it does stay a little bit warmer in here than what outside is. So be mindful of that, and we'll show you sort of how we're keeping the olives. All right, hello again. So the olives are being kept in the top side of our barn. They are under light. Now, not super powerful grow lights or anything, because we're just giving them enough light to hang out, not drop their leaves, and we're also trying to keep it cool in here, so that way they stay dormant. Because again, you don't want them not having a winter. And can't get through here, it's so bushy. But yes, the olives themselves, so they're kept up top, and up here stays around 0 degrees plus or minus 5 degrees, depending on how cool it gets at night or how warm it gets during the day. We did insulate it, we did vapor barrier it. Still got to put that vapor barrier up, but this way keeps the chill off them, no major wind, and they're getting enough light just to stay happy. So that way they're not growing and they're getting their winter, because that's the big key thing. We're really looking forward to all this olive production for potential or for clients, so that way you don't have to wait. You can actually get your olives come next year, because like as showed, these are grafted, and even those little ones, I don't know if you've seen the picture, but we have Caltier with one little olive on them, and the plant's only about 10 inches tall. All right, so that's how we're storing our olives. All right, so the last place is inside the barn, which is where we keep our tea, because we do have everything here under grow lights. Again, these guys, because they need the temperature, so we can't, you know, let them cool off. We got Barbados cherry. Still have all this black sapote still growing, producing fruit, and they're doing fine under the grow lights. They actually love it. Got all that new growth. More of the Barbados cherry. Our little ladybug friends doing their work. Although that guy seems to have passed on. But yes. And we've got our pineapple. A lot of the truly tiny bananas. We've got the pandan, which is nice and flourishing over there. And we've got more of the passion fruit in here as well. And we do warm up the water. We use a nice big watering tank with a pump. Warms up the water. It's 1,000 liters. And then that way we make sure we're watering with warm water. And then we have the Jaboticaba, which the aphids are now hatching. So, but again, because we've got quite a lot of ladybugs at the end of the season, we make sure that they moved in, so that way they could continue and flourish. So we are getting blossoms on the purple possum in here. So that is what a passion fruit bud blossom looks like. Right there, get the camera to focus. So those guys are doing nice and well. And lo and behold, we've got one open. So yes, you do continue to get fruit. The great thing with tropicals, year round, especially on the passion fruit. The passion fruit fine kind of once it starts, and there's the ladybug doing his job or her job, and yeah, it's been doing great. So, and the nice thing with the lights, it helps keep the temperature up. So again, the fertilizer's being activated and being released, because again, that's one of the other things too. If you're always using cold water, the fertilizer doesn't get released because the container just stays way too cold. You do need that heat into the fertilizer and container to release the fertilizer, so everybody's getting their nutrition. So if you're wondering why something might be turning yellow even though you're watering it, you've given it fertilizer, is the roots are too cold and you're having roots dying off in that, so you're not getting the fertilizer you need. But that's what's hanging out in the barn.